Hello there, YouTube! I know I'm a little bit late, I've been quite busy, and the update is in 3 days for the 1.5 year anniversary in Brown Dust 2. We've had the developer notes here for about 2 days now, but I'm gonna cover it right now because you might have watched a live stream, but there's actually more information than just what was said during the live stream, so I'm gonna go over it. We'll see if there's anything very interesting here. And let's have a look-see. So this is going to be a more condensed kind of information being given to us. I kind of would like this kind of stuff to also be in video format. And that's not the case. The live stream is it's a bit more diluted, I guess. And it's a different kind of experience. Sometimes you just want the information. And so we have it here, black and white. So let's jump in real quick. It feels like things we have to do pile up with every broadcast, or what was punks the broadcasting station? Oops, I mean the people in the business department will come up with next. Alright, so let's have a look at everything coming up. So starting on December 17th, which is going to be the date of the update, we are going to get that new event pack, Memories Edge. So as always, keep in mind there's going to be 2 packs. It's going to be the event pack, which is a non-permanent event. A non-permanent, a limited event. That's going to be like Christmas event. It's going to be like summer events. They're here and they go away until there's a rerun. So make sure that you do them, right? We invite you to yet another winter event pack update for 2024. The one that takes the spotlight this time is Memories Edge, set in a cyberpunk universe. You might remember last year's event pack, Nightmare Winter, a scene that also had a near-future backdrop. In this event pack, we took an extra step in our future-oriented approach, welcoming your journey into a fully fledged cyberpunk lore. This year's event pack, Memories Edge, is set roughly a year after Nightmare Winter, albeit in a completely different city. The new journey will unfold in Pandora City. So keep in mind, Nightmare Winter is currently rerunning, and while it is kind of disconnected, it seems, we will still... There is some amount of connections, and so it's recommended to do the rerun, right? If you need to refresh your memory and stuff like that, right? Mopia met a doom through Rue's sacrifice in Nightmare Winter. However, she somehow appeared in the alleys of Pandora City with no recollections of her past. Lying on the ground unconscious, Loen passes by and rescues her just in time. From there, Mopia starts working as a bartender at a pub called Volpole Rabbit with Loen. One day, Mopia hears that Loen's birthday is coming up, so she heads to somewhere dangerous to find a birthday present. She is soon surrounded by cleaners, the menacing beings who lurk on the floor of Sector 4, the city's abandoned area. Loen hears the news and heads to Sector 4 to rescue Mopia. Log into the game for more. So there we go. Here we can see some of the pictures that will be happening in the area that will be evolving in, and it looks very cyberpunk. Obviously, looks very, very cool in my opinion. I absolutely love this. Cyberpunk is one of my favorite genres, so I'm very excited about this, right? So here you go. You can see like the bars, the rooftops, and all of that. So it really much seems like a lower city kind of deal. So that's not like the massive big tower building for like the big corporation. This is very much so in like kind of the rough areas, right, of the city. Here we get some beautiful pictures. So those are the 2 rabbits, the 2 rabbit girls that work for the bar, and here we see the 2 fixers, right? They're working as like kind of mercenaries essentially. Now we also get a new seasonal event, Goodbye Freedom. So the seasonal event. We have seasonal pack. The event pack is something that's limited, and it is a pack that you have to enter, so you will have a map that you can evolve in, right? Now here we have the seasonal events. This is one of the classic. You have 2 weeks. For 1 week, you got a story. It's in a visual novel style. You don't have a map. You have a mini game. You have like X and Y. You got like normal fight, challenge fights. They get preparation for 1 week for the boss, and then the next week you do the hunt, right? So this is what it is, and you have a shop, right? So this is what it is. So the first one, here, we get maps. Second one, it's story only, right? It's the winter seasonal event, Goodbye Freedom. The seasonal event, with its focus on a single concept, will be held over 4 weeks. Interesting. It will be divided into 2 periods, each held for 2 weeks. The seasonal event marks the start of a change in story presentation. A lot of you have mentioned the problem regarding the frequency of the illustration and exposure. We agree with the argument that there was no point in having a good illustration if you didn't have a lot of exposure in the game. So, the presentation of the seasonal event stories will take a visual novel format with conversation between the illustration. Absolutely fantastic. So there we go. We see the characters here. What I do hope is that we'll have multiples. I really hope that we'll get many expressions for the characters, because here we can see Luvencia and Levia, and Luvencia has the exact same facial expression between the two pictures. So I do hope there will be some amount of diversity, because otherwise it will feel a little bit lifeless. So I really hope that they're gonna be doing that, right? In a very visual novel fashion, where we do see, like, it doesn't have to have mouse movement and whatnot, but at least like a smile or being mad, etc, etc, right? So hopefully that's the case, and if not right now, hopefully it will be the case in the future. The first part of Goodbye Freedom opening in the first week is subtitled Shaded Heart. The subheading of the second part opening in the third week is Overheat, which is also the name of Levia's costume, indeed. This little event, Goodbye Freedom, contains a story that serves as a prequel to the Winter Event Pack, Memory's Edge. Here you can find out about the past of Levia and Luvencia, the troubleshooters in Memory's Edge, and dig deep into what made them appear in the city. We hope you enjoyed the newly introduced visual novel-style seasonal event story. So you do gotta know that, like, the story is available from day one. So if you want to get, maybe it will be better to see the story of this one before you jump into the event pack, right? Now, introduction to the characters, Celebrity Bunny Lowen. And during the live stream, unfortunately, we didn't have any information regarding what they do. I don't know if we'll get the actual skills, but they are probably giving us at least a little bit of information regarding what they do. They do, okay, perfect. The first character is Lowen, who received a lot of attention for the so-called reverse bunny costume. The costume is named Celebrity Bunny and is offered as a new limited pickup. Celebrity Bunny Lowen has a skill concept of dealing powerful damage to multiple enemies in a wide area. Okay, so she seems to be an AoE damage dealer, very cool. Daydream Bunny Morpea. So there she is. Next up, we have the star of the popularity contest, Morpea. Morpea is a character who stands on the other side of the spectrum compared to Eclipse. So we decided to name her costume Daydream Bunny, contrasting her looks with the name of Nightmare Bunny. A costume has a white color scheme fitting for its name while standing out from the other bunny costumes. As the Daydream Bunny Morpea is a costume from the popularity vote, you can obtain 6 copies for free, meaning you can get it fully upgraded. Daydream Bunny Morpea has a skill concept of summoning allied creatures, similar to the previous beach vacation costume. Okay, interesting. So we are getting another summon costume. So she has now 2 summoner costume. Very interesting. And yeah, if you didn't see, the bunny costume she has is actually more themed toward like mermaids. So that's why there's like a lot of fiends and the scales and all of that. So very cool. Finally, Overheat Levia. Absolutely love Levia. So this is the one I'm most excited for. Here comes Overheat Levia, who is rising up as a troubleshooter. We gave the name Overheat because Levia's prosthetic arm overheats during battle. According to her lore, Overheat Levia has a skill concept that deals more powerful damage to enemies in a vulnerable state. So I assume that she's gonna deal increased damage on enemies that have debuff on them. Very interesting. So like, let's say she deals magic damage, because her other things does magic damage. So if you do a magic res shred on the enemies, that's gonna be multiplying her damage even more so. So very cool. Probably, right? Finally, Wild Dog Luvencia. Looking good. She also has a mount. That's the second costume in the game. Here is Luvencia, another troubleshooter who forms a duo with Levia. Appearing as a top-notch problem solver, Luvencia over here is also an incredible battle enthusiast. If Levia is the brain of the duo, then Luvencia could be considered the heart. Wild Dog Luvencia has a skill concept that deals more powerful damage depending on the number of chains applied to the enemy. Very cool. Okay, so another character that is stronger with high chains. And now we finally have a question mark, and we've learned that this is apparently a NPC that is supposed to be Lowen's sister. When we only had the shadow, I actually thought this might be a new costume for Justia, but it's not the case, unfortunately. But they did say this was going to be an NPC. I kind of wish she was playable, maybe in the future, who knows, but yeah, I like her. Last but not least, many of you have been dying to see who this is because we never released any information. She won't be a playable character. However, she will be associated with Lowen and is set to appear as a key figure in the seasonal event story. I wish was playable. So here we have the details regarding the schedule for the pickups. So you can pause here if you want to go over it quickly. But essentially, we are getting Celebrity Bunny Lowen, Overheat Levia, January 16th, January 2nd. So they start at the same time, but they don't end at the same time. And then we get a bunch of reruns. So I think the reruns are kind of interesting. We're getting Nightmare Bunny Eclipse, Adventure of the Unknown Diana, Masquerade Bunny Celia. Then we finally get a run for Wild Dog Luvencia, January 2nd. And we also get a rerun for B-Rank Idol Helena, which is pretty cool. Now for the gear, this is gonna essentially work as the same as higher over there. Every single weapon is tied to the character, so it is that way. Now, Fiend Hunter. In the first week of the 2-part seasonal event, a rerun Fiend will appear. In the third week, a new Fiend will make its debut. So we are getting Talos Wind Rerun. Fiend from Goodbye Freedom Shaded Heart will be up at the moment of the release of the patch, December 17th. And he's reappearing with the Wind attribute, so obviously you're gonna want to play with like some fire DPS, right? The higher chain you stack up on the Fiend, the more damage you can deal. Obviously, this seemed to be kind of custom made for someone like maybe Levia, right? Because she deals a lot of fire damage, I think. I don't remember Levincia's thingy, but Levincia only comes out later, so that's not gonna work. Anyway, I guess we'll find out. And finally, the new Fiend Hunter Modified Human Type B01 Light type. So that's gonna be from Goodbye Freedom, Overheat, which will be January 2nd, and here we have this kind of like big, it seems to be someone that's like plugged into a mechanical body. The Modified Human Type B01 is a light attribute Fiend. It has relatively simple pattern based features skill that deals significant damage during battle. Okay. Now we also have the minigame Pandora Escape, and this is the survivor-like game, it seems. The future direction I mentioned earlier was about creating content that would be fun despite not being mandatory. I believe this minigame will be the first example of that. Let me introduce you to Pandora Escape. I really like that they're doing like more interesting minigames. This reminds me of games like Goddess of Victory Nikkei, where the minigames are kind of like developed. Instead of just like, oh, run around, get the coins, right? Here it's actually a bit more. You get a straight up actual minigame. I like this. Pandora Escape is a survival action roguelike minigame. Lovely. When you start the game, you'll engage in battle with swarming enemies. Each stage lasts about 5 to 10 minutes. As a player, you clear the stage as you progress. You will obtain skills and develop characters to challenge the final boss in battle. Awesome. Within this stage, you can obtain currency exclusive to Pandora Escape. You can use this currency to upgrade your character's stat to face even stronger enemies. After getting to the third week, a character with different playstyle Levincia will be added and the challenge mode will be activated. You can compete with other player record by defeating as many monsters as possible. To go, the in-game currency is not provided as a gameplay reward, however you can obtain My Room furniture by clearing certain stages. So that's pretty cool, we like this. That's a really cool idea, I like it. Now, we have new content called the Glupy Diner. So, the Glupy Diner is a new restaurant management feature where you can interact with characters. This is going to be a new pack. This is going to be a new permanent pack. Very interesting. So first of all, you have the restaurant part. So when you first enter the restaurant, you'll see that many facilities are locked, giving it an empty feel. You must use the initially provided currency to open the locked facilities in the restaurant and assign part-time characters. By making the restaurant grow that way, you can level up and enjoy the benefits of increased settlement rewards from running the restaurant. Settlement rewards can accumulate for up to 24 hours, based on the predetermined reward production rate according to the restaurant's level. You can receive rewards proportional to the amount of idle time. We expect players to take around 100 days to reach the final level. After fully developing all elements in the restaurant, you can no longer make your restaurant grow. However, you can continue to receive gold and refining powder as settlement rewards. The restaurant follows a linear growth structure and does not include any additional decorative elements. Aspects related to decoration are planned to be reviewed in the future. In this Glupy Diner session, we hope you enjoy playing with a focus on the fun of steadily daily growth. Awesome! And I really like this because to me, this means that they're actually adding content for the long run and they're considering way to potentially update it in the future, and I think this is fantastic. Now, moving on, we also have an additional feature called a regular guest and a fated guest inside the diner. The second feature is a visit of special guest. There are two types of special guests, regular and fated. Also, some of the customers you own will come to the restaurant. Upon the visit of a regular guest, you will receive a magic crystal item that matches the property of the customer as a visit reward. If you receive visit reward from the same costume a set number of times, you can fill out the regular note and obtain Dia. Nevertheless, you shouldn't forget to fated guests, as they are even more important. Fated guests visit the restaurant with various stories, and touching them triggers a dialogue event. The dialogue event is conducted in a visual novel style with illustrated conversations. As the master of the restaurant, the player engages in first-person dialogue with characters visiting as fated guests. Once the dialogue event is completed, you can obtain contact information. After obtaining the contact, you can interact with those characters through a messenger called Glutalk and continue the conversation. So essentially, you increase your affinity with them when they visit the restaurant. From there, you can get their contact info, and then you can text with them to increase your affinity even more, right? The story of Glupy Diner is presented from a first-person perspective, which was a new challenge for the story team as well. A lot of thought and effort went into implementing the natural first-person perspective. To achieve this, we utilized the parallel world concept of Grounders 2. Within the Glupy Diner pack, players are said to identify themselves as the Master. Meanwhile, the existing main story maintains a third-person observer perspective. We don't plan to introduce the costumes of characters appearing in the main story as fated guests. The characters appearing as fated guests will feature costume with a parallel world concept. Initially, you'll get Nebris, the new employee we appeared in Character Pack 7. After her, the Morpia and Low-End Bunny Girl series will be updated sequentially. We wanted to add many characters at once, but it wasn't easy to prepare high-quality stories for them. We decided to focus a bit more on quality rather than quantity for now. It seems that implementing a large number of updates at once will continue to be challenging. Nevertheless, we plan to constantly present them one by one while maintaining a high-quality standard. So essentially, what is good to know here is that we'll only get parallel costume characters, parallel world costumes, right? So essentially, the main characters do not interact with you, but this is something where you can definitely, you know, you are the master, so you can feel immersed and you can kind of like, you know, flirt with the characters in the game, but they're not from the main storyline. So the main storyline is going to stay untouched, but you can still flirt with alternate variants of those characters, right? Essentially, they're just doing that to make sure that there is no, we keep the main story, you know, we keep its integrity, essentially. Now, moving on. It's kind of funny we had to drop a voiceover due to schedule constraints. We plan to add them one by one in the future. It is what it is. Now, special interaction with a fated guest. The next feature I'd like to tell you is a special interaction. Essentially, you can have a meeting with a fated guest up to 3 times a day, and this is replenished daily. When you participate in the event, you increase your affinity by 1, and allow you to obtain certain reward. The affinity can be upgraded to 10. The first meeting event at the restaurant is not deducted from your event count, which means that in 3 days you can actually reach that affinity 10. Now, the good part is that once you reach affinity 10, you will be able to interact with those fated guests once you put them on the home screen. And essentially, here, at first, we're going to be getting Nebris at the update of the game, and then on January 2nd, we'll get Morpia and Lowen. So, once they are shown here, you will actually be able to interact with them. We saw that on live stream. You can touch, like, you can pat their head, you can touch their arm, their boobs, whatever you can. You can even take off their boots. You can even take off, it seems you can even take off her clothes. So that is something you can certainly do. So you can look forward to that if you are into it. One of the costumes will randomly appear as a fake guest, where the costume will not appear if you obtain its contact. Okay. So there we go. You can obtain the contact for all fake guests over 3 days. There we go. So, you can expect a lot of interactiveness, and I'm sure that's going to please a lot of people out there, a lot of you guys. Now we're getting some update for the Japanese voiceover. It's going to be added for a lot of the character pack from 1 to 5. They will finally be added. They'll be fully voiced in both Japanese and Korean. They apologize for the delay, of course. So now they're going to be also changing some stuff in the partial modification to existing story. Essentially, because they're adding a first-person romance story, they kind of want to change some things where there is some... Essentially, when there's a male and female character that seems to have kind of a, you know, an interest between each other, they kind of want to remove that to make sure that you don't feel like you're getting NTR'd. I think this is mainly to avoid some drama and feeling like, oh, well, the character likes another person. So it's going to be changing some stuff. Specifically, for example, in the Mirror Wars, when you join the Mirror Wars for the first time, there's like an alternate version of Justia, an alternate version of Grey, called Justia and Carlray. Essentially, you learn that they go out, right? So going to be changing those to, so it doesn't feel like you're getting cucked there. So there we go. They're saying that the couple pairing itself is not entirely ruled out. However, they plan to handle character dialogue and action more carefully in the future to avoid undermining their original charm or disrupting immersion. There we go. So they're apologizing for that, blah, 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 blah. So yeah. Now, there will also be some character balance adjustments, an increase to HP ratio skill cap. So, a total of 12 5-star costumes will be buffed to fulfill the original intended roles. The existing role will remain unchanged and the skill effect will not be altered. The balance of costume released a long time ago may require performance-related adjustments. We'll continue to monitor and pay attention to this matter. So first of all, the HP cap applied to HP ratio skill will increase from 20k to 30k. So essentially, if your skills scale off of HP, now if somehow you manage to have up to 30k HP instead of being stopped at 20k, you will have even more, your skills will be even more powerful essentially, right? Now, these are the costume being buffed. So Anastasia Jensen Main will get an increase to her crit damage buff. Anastasia Fire Graffiti will have a crit damage buff stat increase as well as a reduction of cooldown. Elise Lovely Lady has increased damage. Elise Codename O has increased damage. Angelica Neon Savior as dot damage can now stack. An increase in HP ratio cap. Angelica Pole Party increase in HP ratio cap. Angelica the Fallen has increased damage and HP ratio cap. Glacia Disciplinary Committee has decreased cooldown and increased damage. Sarah Demon's Daughter has decreased HP consumption. Ventana Snow White has increased conditional damage. All Signs Sage of Blue Clouds increase in hit count for multi-hit attacks. And Leclerc's Killer Doll has decreased in HP consumption. I hope we're gonna get, I will probably get all of the juicy, nitty-gritty details in the future, but overall this sounds great. I think it's a good idea that they are buffing all characters, and I think this is great because unfortunately, or fortunately, this game, it's not like once you get a new costume, it replaces the other one. The costume work in conjunctions together, so you don't want to end up feeling like some of the old costumes are absolutely useless. They're trying to make it so that they can at least serve a certain purpose. I think this is great because there's so many gacha games where they're very, very scared and they never want to strengthen past character or past costume, and I think this kind of, I think it's kind of lame, especially if it's like your favorite character, you know. Now they're also going to be changing some cutscenes as well. They'll be changing the presentation of some of them, specifically Piercing Magic Bow Aleanir. They'll be changing some of the background with the doll and all of that. You can also expect some changes for like the body shape of Levia. Or there was also some change from Dancing Self like Yumi, for example. A lot of people were complaining. So here you can also see there is going to be addition for existing character cutscenes. So there we go. We're getting some previews here. Looks great. This one here, I think she's stepping on his head. It might not be his head, but with the angle, I feel like, I don't know, I'm scared. Anyway, exciting stuff. And here we're gonna have a lot of Q&A. I think this was definitely in the live stream, so you can definitely check it out here. I will slowly move over it, so you can pause if you want to have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, question for the maps. There's some interesting stuff in here, but I don't want to go over them again since I did do it during the live stream. So there we go. I think it was pretty cool. They really answered a lot of questions that people might have had. So this is a good time. Also, like if you really want to take your time and make sure I didn't skip anything here by mistake, definitely check out the webpage. I'm not going to go through everything actually. It's too long. There's too much stuff. Alright, anyway, that's it for today. Preparing for the half year and 1 year anniversary update, we realized a shortcoming and made improvement for the 1.5 anniversary. We filled our event to the brim with content, surpassing the load of all past anniversary events. We're both excited and anxious about whether you will enjoy what we have in store for you. We hope all the players who have been waiting will enjoy this event. However, one regrets that the improvement in user convenience requested by many players was somewhat lacking in this update. In this regard, we'll make steady improvements starting with updates in the first quarter of 2025. Also, the feedback asking us to add depth to the main story resonated with us as well. Starting with Story Pack 15 in February next year, we're planning updates centered around Story Packs throughout the first half of the year. Bundles 2 has always grown thanks to the massive interest and support from its players. We'll continue to do our best to repay you with an even better experience. With that, we'll wrap up today's notes with a gift. 600 Dia for the good rice. There it is. So overall, pretty good. Great updates. I cannot wait for better information regarding like the exact numbers on the kits and the buffs and all of that. And I think this is great. I think the thing I'm most excited about is actually the new characters, the new costume, the story for the cyberpunk part, and also I think the Glupy Diner. I think the restaurant manager is going to be a fun time. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think. What are you most hyped about? Leave a comment down below to tell me all about it. Like, subscribe, all the good, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers!